Which books have you been buying recently? Which ones have made it home to your bookshelf? Well, in this short film, we'll go through the 12 books that have landed at 12 Scholars last month. And I'll share a few practical top tips, tools and techniques that we use in order to prioritise what to read and, more importantly, what not to read. Welcome to Bob's Book Club, and today we're going to talk through 12 books that I've recently added to our leadership library. We're going to talk you through the decision-making process of why I actually bought them, and also how we can build a prioritised reading list. So at the end of this short film, you'll be better informed about what type of books that you'll buy and how you can prioritise what you're going to read now, next and later. So which books do I buy? Well, there's three factors that I look out for when buying all books. It's all about reputation, subject matter, and ideas and inspiration. And if you can imagine a Venn diagram, then there should be ticking at least one of those, ideally two. And the best books that I have kind of behind me, they're the books that tick all three. That's reputation, subject matter, and ideas and inspiration. So let's dive in. Let's look at the first one, reputation or recommendation. Now, these are the types of books that I'll have heard about on a podcast, somebody being interviewed, or I'll have read about in the papers. So first up of the 12 that arrived last month is this one here by Marie Forleo, and it's called Everything is Figureoutable. And it's just a great title, that word, figureoutable. For those of you who don't know Marie Forleo, incredibly successful businesswoman over in the States, and has got a really good business course, expensive business course, not too dissimilar to 12 Scholars in terms of the content. She rivals MBAs in what she delivers. I heard her on the Diary of a CEO with Steve Bartlett. I've seen her before. I think she's incredibly inspiring and empowering. So yeah, this is the one which I've bought based on the back of a recent podcast that I listened to. Two books now by an author called Ryan Holiday. You may have come across Ryan before. We've got Discipline is Destiny and Courage is Calling. This one arrived first, shortly followed by this one here. Really like a lot of the work that Ryan's done. Ego is the Enemy, Obstacle is the Way. He's got some great books out there. And again, recently heard him on a podcast. This time he was on with the High Performance podcast with Jake Humphrey and Damien Shoes. Thought he was great. I'd already started reading this one. On the back of that interview, I bought the other one as well because they're a bit of a series, and I think there's a third or fourth book to go with them as well. So there's kind of book 2 and 3. Now, talking about referrals, recommendations, reputation, I've got another book here. It's called the High Performance Daily Journal, and it's been written by Jake Humphrey from the High Performance podcast. This isn't the book that summarises all the podcasts. Let me get it. That's this one here. That's another of his books, which is highly recommended. This one is the journal. So this is kind of a bit more thoughtful. It summarises in terms of exercises. It talks about top tips, things to inspire you, things to do. I like it. I do like the hardback. It's a good book to kind of switch off with. I've got one here which has been in my book, has been in my wish list for some time now, and it's by a chap called Ryder Carroll. And in here he talks about this bullet journal method, and you can argue that Ryder Carroll is one of the authors of the bullet journal, or he's been a catalyst for the movement behind bullet journals. For those of you who got to know me, you'll all know that I always carry around a moleskin diary, largely part to this chap here, but also in here he talks about kind of the systems for note taking. I haven't got into it yet, so I must confess. But what I do like straight away is within the book it has yellow highlights in there. It's a beautiful book. I like the pages. Again, it's hardback. It's quite a heavy volume, perfect for dipping in and out. So there are 5 books that I've bought on reputation or recommendation. Next up we have subject matter. So these are the books that I'm really interested in. Now, the library behind me can be split into 3 sections, and they are personal development, leadership and strategy, and design. And pretty much every single book I've ever bought can be split into one of those 3 buckets. So let's think about the 5 books we've just gone through. Well, yeah, they all fit in the personal development bucket. So now we're going to introduce 4 more books that I've bought recently that fit into a different category. First up, we have this one here. It's a little one by John Adair. He's a bit of a leadership guru. This particular book it's a bit of a summary. It's a snapshot of some of his thinking. It's called Develop Your Leadership Skills. It's a nice bite-sized book. And to be honest, I read it in one sitting. So highly recommend this one here. For those of you who don't know John Adair, I'll put a link in the notes. He's certainly somebody who you should be looking out for. He likes Venn diagrams too, and typically his have task, individuals and teams. So he's one to look out for. We then have a book here, and it's called Myths of Strategy. I like the title, all about dispelling myths. Yet to dive in, but it's certainly a worthy addition. Next up, we have How to Be an Even Better Manager. And who doesn't want to become a better leader or manager? So that's going in the collection too. And then we have this one here. I've got to confess, I'm a bit of a sucker for yellow books, and the title got me too. So a combination of yellow, title and subject matter. This one, I couldn't resist this here. And then we have Ideas and Inspiration. And these are books that are typically design orientated. They're eye-catching, full of pictures, some are quite colourful, or indeed kind of black and white. These are the books that are my guilty pleasure, and I've spent far too much money on in the past. But they're the ones that really kind of inspire me the most, the design orientated books. And this last month, there's 3 books that landed in this bucket. So first up, we have this one here, which is called Own It. It's published by Phaidon. So in terms of kind of recommendations, the publisher is known for design-orientated books. And there's many behind me that are by the same publisher. So that's a publisher that I trust. This particular one, yes, it's a bit of personal development, and it's written in a way that's kind of like an A to Z. So it's quite colourful, and it takes kind of the words, the dictionary, and it's full of just ideas, and it's full of joy. So that's that one there. I like. Talking about joy, we have Marie Kondo with one of her colleagues, and she's launched a new book, and it's called Joy at Work. For those of you who are familiar with Marie Kondo, she needs no introduction. For those of you who don't, she's made a career out of teaching people how to tidy up, how to clear your wardrobes, how to keep a tidy desk, how to keep a tidy mind. This one specifically is all about work. So, mainly about how to keep a tidy desk and the joy that's brought with keeping things tidy. It's a book that I'm probably not going to just yet. I'm looking at for research for the next 12 Scholars Journal, and that's all about how to be organised. So a bit of research there as well. And then the last book, a bit of an impulse purchase. I saw it on Amazon. Again, it's a yellow cover. I couldn't not say no. And I quite like the design of the front cover. So that's what got me in. Front cover, the title, it's all about minimalism, the science of less. So they're the 12 books, but which ones have made it onto my prioritised reading list? Which books will I be reading now, next and later? Well, my prioritised reading list has been split into 4 buckets. We have our must read, should read, could read and won't read for now. Okay, so let's look at my prioritised reading list, and let's start with must read. And to be honest, I've only got 2 books in that category, and this really helps me focus on which books to read now, next and later. And the 2 books are these 2 here. It's the Leadership Skills by John Adair and the Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. Let's look at the should reads. Again, I've only got 2 in this category, and these are probably my most anticipated books of the year. The High Performance Daily Journal and also the Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. The could read, They're the ones that if I've want to reward myself, I could dive into, or once I've read all the other books. We have 4 in that category, and that's these 4 here. We've got the Own It, the Marie Figueroutable Phileo, Ryan Holiday Courage is Calling, and the Joy at Work. And then lastly, the Won't Read for Now category. So these books that, yes, I've looked through, I've gone through the contents, I've made a note, I've updated my database, the verdict's out, I've put them in my Won't Read for Now. To be honest, I may never read them, and I'm fine with that. But what are they? Well, these are the last 4 here. Unfortunately, they're the 2 yellow books that I bought, Rule Breaker and Subtract. And then we've got the How to Be a Better Manager and the strategy book as well. We touched on there about books that I've bought but will never read. Now, in the past, I would have felt quite guilty about that. I would have put pressure on myself, and to be honest, I would have stressed about having all these books and having not read them. Not anymore. I quite enjoy having these books now for ideas, inspiration, or for gifting out to people. Whenever I've got a book, the first thing I do is thumb through them. I'll go through the contents, I'll make a note, I'll read the inside flap, the blurb as they call it, and I'll make a note on our database. Now, on the database now, I've got 1,168 books that are kind of behind us in the library. So that's almost 1,200 books. If you were to read, or if I was to read 1 book a week for the rest of my life without buying any new books, that's nearly 22 years worth of books. The reality is, I'm never going to read all these books. So it's about giving yourself permission to read what you want to read and not read what you're never going to read. I hope that helps kind of prioritise your reading list too. So there's 12 books that have recently been added to our leadership library. But which one would I recommend to you, the audience, and to Bob's Book Club? Well, it'd have to be this one here. And it's Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny. And honestly, it's his best yet. There's so much wisdom and knowledge in this book. And this particular copy is full of ink markings as well, full of all my notes. How do we rate this at 12 Scholars? According to our EGSP model, well, it would have to be E for excellent. You can't get higher than that. So thanks so much for watching. My name's Bob Buckley, and I look forward to seeing you again in another edition of Bob's Book Club.